Marcus Reed hadn't slept in 48 hours, his calloused hands still trembling from the double shift at the construction site, but when he walked into that diner at 11 p.m. with his 6-year-old daughter Emma clutching his hand, all he wanted was one quiet meal before the world crushed him again. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead like dying stars as they slid into a corner booth, Emma's eyes lighting up at the laminated menu even though Marcus knew he had exactly $17.32 in his wallet, just enough for her pancakes and his black coffee, nothing more. The waitress who approached their table had kind eyes behind her exhaustion, her name tag read, Sarah, and she smiled at Emma like she remembered what it felt like to be that innocent, that hopeful. Marcus ordered quickly, his voice rough from the cement dust still coating his throat, and Sarah wrote it down with practiced efficiency, promising Emma extra whipped cream with a wink that made his daughter giggle for the first time in days. Then the door exploded open. A man in a $15,000 suit stormed in, his cologne poisoning the air before he even reached the counter, his phone pressed to his ear like the whole world existed to serve him. "I don't care what the market's doing," he barked into the device, "liquidate the position and make it happen now." His shoes clicked against the linoleum with the sharp precision of a man who'd never walked on ground he didn't own, and when Sarah approached him with a polite smile, his eyes cut through her like she was less than human. "Coffee," he snapped without looking up, "and don't take all night." Sarah nodded, her smile faltering just slightly, that microscopic crack in her armor that only someone like Marcus could recognize, someone who knew what it meant to be invisible. She brought the coffee within 90 seconds. He didn't even glance at it before his hand shot out, pushing the cup away so violently it sloshed onto the counter. "This is cold," he snarled, his voice dripping with contempt. "Are you incompetent or just stupid?" Sarah's face went pale, her hands trembling as she reached for the cup. "I'm so sorry, sir, I'll get you a fresh," but he cut her off with a laugh that had no warmth in it, only cruelty. "You'll get me a fresh one? That's your solution? You think I have time for this?" He stood up, towering over her, and Marcus felt his jaw tighten, his fists clenching under the table. "Look at you," the man continued, his voice rising so everyone in the diner could hear. "This is probably the best job you could get, isn't it? Serving coffee to people who actually matter. Tell me, how does it feel knowing you'll never be anything more than this?" Emma's hand found Marcus's arm. "Daddy, why is that man being mean?" The diner had gone silent, every fork suspended mid-air, every conversation dead. Sarah's eyes were glistening now, her whole body rigid with humiliation, and Marcus saw her the way he'd seen himself 1,000 times, standing at attention while superior officers screamed in his face, kneeling beside brothers who'd never come home, filling out job applications that got thrown in the trash because overqualified veteran was just another way of saying damaged goods. He'd promised himself after Afghanistan he'd never let injustice happen in front of him again, that he'd never be a bystander when someone was being destroyed. He stood up. The chair scraped against the floor like a gunshot. "That's enough," Marcus said, his voice quiet but carrying the weight of every battle he'd survived. The man in the suit turned, his eyebrows raised in amused disbelief. "Excuse me?" Marcus took 3 steps forward, positioning himself between the man and Sarah, his 6'2" frame suddenly filling the space with coiled tension. "I said that's enough. Apologize to her. Now." The man laughed again, but there was uncertainty creeping into his eyes now, the first recognition that he might have miscalculated. "And who exactly are you? Her boyfriend? Her hero?" He looked Marcus up and down, taking in the worn work boots, the faded jeans, the discount store jacket. "Let me guess, construction worker? Mechanic? One of those people who thinks hard work entitles them to respect." "Marine," Marcus said simply. "Iraq and Afghanistan. 3 tours. And right now, I'm someone telling you to apologize." The man's smile turned vicious. "A soldier? Oh, this is rich. Let me explain something to you, hero. I own 7 companies. I have houses in 3 countries. My watch costs more than you'll make in 5 years. I donate more to charity in a month than you've seen in your entire life. So when I tell someone like her that she's worthless, I'm speaking from a position of authority you couldn't possibly understand. Now sit down before you embarrass yourself further in front of your kid. Marcus didn't move. You're right about one thing. Your watch probably does cost more than I'll make in 5 years. But you know what it can't buy? The ability to see people. The ability to recognize that the woman you just humiliated probably has more courage in her pinky finger than you've shown in your entire life. You want to talk about worth? She's worth 100 of you. The man's face flushed red. You don't know who I am. And you don't know who she is, Marcus shot back. You don't know her story. You don't know what she's surviving. And that's the difference between people like you and people like us. We see each other. For a moment, the man seemed genuinely speechless, his mouth opening and closing like he'd forgotten how to form words. Then his phone rang, shattering the tension. He answered it with a shaking hand, his voice suddenly uncertain. Yes. What? No, I'm in the middle of, what do you mean the board convened an emergency meeting? His face went from red to white in seconds. You can't be serious. On what grounds? He listened, his expression crumbling with each passing second. But that's impossible, I built that company. His hand dropped to his side, the phone nearly slipping from his fingers. When he looked up, there were tears in his eyes. They just removed me, he whispered to no one in particular. 10 years. I gave them 10 years and they just, his gaze found Sarah's, and something broke in him. I'm sorry, he said, his voice cracking. I'm so sorry. I just lost everything and I took it out on you and that's inexcusable. I've become the thing I despised. He pulled out his wallet with trembling hands, extracting every bill inside, hundreds and fifties spilling onto the counter. Please. I can't undo what I said but maybe this, he looked at Marcus. You were right. I stopped seeing people years ago. I stopped being human. Marcus watched him leave, shoulders hunched, fortune vanished, humanity rediscovered too late. Sarah was crying now, but they were different tears. Thank you, she whispered. No one's ever, thank you. Marcus smiled, the kind of smile that carried ghosts and grace. We protect each other. That's all we can do. Emma tugged his sleeve. Daddy, you're a hero. He picked her up, holding her close. No, sweetheart. I'm just someone who remembers that everybody's fighting a battle we can't see. And sometimes, the bravest thing we can do is stand up. They sat back down to their cold pancakes and lukewarm coffee, and somehow, it tasted like the best meal they'd ever had.